Hello and welcome everyone, and thanks for joining us today in a new episode of Let's Talk About Data Show. It's Monday, new week, new guest, new topic, a different one, a bit different, but as usual, always related to data. Welcome everyone. My name is Ibrahim Amara. I'm one of your regular hosts. I'm a database specialist solutions architect. I'm based out of London. And today, as I mentioned, we have a different topic. It's not the usual that I used to have because usually we have like a software demo, but this time we have both software and hardware demo as well. And for that, I would like to introduce my guest, Shoaib. Shoaib would like to give a brief about yourself to our viewers.
Ibrahim, thanks very much for the opportunity here. So, hello everyone. My name is Shoaib Bustani, and I'm a senior solutions architect here at AWS. I'm based out of the UK, and I typically work for FSI customers. Been in the industry for 20 plus years myself, and in AWS for the last 5 years. So that's pretty much me, Ibrahim.
Thanks a lot, Tribe. So, Tribe, we were talking before this show, and you mentioned that you have an interesting thing to show our viewers, and that thing the our customers can be used in order to elevate their customers' experience.
Yep.
Cool.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, we all work with customers. So I'm working for FSI customers, and all of them are looking to innovate through data and AI.
Hmm.
But sometimes they struggle to visualize end-to-end journey, and to help the customers visualize that, uh, we at AWS, so myself, have been building this device. Yeah. So yeah, it's a cross-industry demo that we showcase it to customer. We have deployed at numerous places, and we'll talk about it. But it's a cross-industry
Interesting.
use case that helps them visualize this.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
So, what
that's
is
what.
this? You mentioned that it's called Kaleidoscope, right?
Yes, yeah. So initially, when I started with this, started building it last year. So we call it feedback collector, but now we have given it a fancy name, Kaleidoscope, which is about elevating customer experience as people press the buttons. Uh, Let me show you my screen.
Yeah. Before going to that, I can see Tony. He will be the chat moderator for today, and he's saying that I've seen one of those before and collected a few times as well.
Oh, really? Okay. So we have got a familiar audience in here. Yeah, really appreciate that.
Yeah, and I believe that yeah, I've seen that. To be honest, I've seen that in one of the AWS summits as well, and not only there, but I've seen it before, even in some other locations like in restaurants or toilets. I think.
Yes. Okay, no, that's fine. Yeah, you're very humble. Yes, yeah, you must have seen that. I mean, you might have seen them at airports, you may have seen it toilets. But at the end of the day, I mean, we all tend to use them, and especially when we are not very happy. But
Exactly.
actually, yeah, but actually, if you look at the use case, where every click generates the data, and it
Hmm.
boils down to the organization and what they can do with the data. They can
Okay.
either ignore it or they can use it to transform their own business, right?
Okay.
So with that view, I mean, we have built this device, and with the because I said it's a daily or I mean, very usual cross industry demo.
Hmm.
It's focused at the customers, and it's about improving the customer engagement, and with the live feedback or near live feedback, they can improve or choreograph the events. They can use GenAI to create insights as well. So
Okay.
that's what okay, that's what Kaleidoscope is. Sorry.
In other
So
words, so what made you think about this? And what was the driver behind this?
okay, so I mean, this all started last year when I was working for London Summit, and then we had this idea saying, okay, we need to collect feedback, right? Because and we're thinking shift left, and in the architecture community or the builder community, as we like to call it, we said, okay, if we have something that can provide you immediate feedback, so that you can work or collect feedback in near real time and act upon it, but also we want to tell a good story around it as well, right? Because we are all working for AWS. We want to make sure the customers are using the AWS services in the right way, or it's about educating the customers as well. So that's all, I mean, led to me building this device. As you can see, it's been made out of a very humble wine box that I mean required a significant DIY, and these are typical components that make up the Kaleidoscope device.
Okay, so this is the hardware part of it. But later on, we'll be talking about the
Yes.
software part and the services that behind this device as well that makes it possible to collect and analyze the feedback as well.
Yes, exactly. So we're starting with the component, which is typical. I mean, for all practical purposes, you could consider it to be the UI or the user interface
Oh
where
yeah.
the user interacts with it, and
Hmm.
or I mean, in our upstream systems, if you go beyond the UI, that are providing or populating the data. So this is the typical high level architecture for this. We've built using Raspberry Pi Zero 2 with buttons and relays. So, and it's just not one type. I mean, we do have multiple types as well that we have been
Oh,
deployed
nice.
across places. So you've got advanced one, which is a more of a button and the screens combined. Then you've got the lighter one, which I just showed it to you here, and we'll be seeing it in action as we progress. And then I've got another touch screen one, which is more detailed. And I will talk about the stories, because the amount of data you capture, right? So if you have a tiny data with just a single click, it gives you enough information, right? But
Hmm.
if you want to build on that, you want to have more richer or rich data coming from uh, the field, then you want to have a little bit more detailed questionnaire, for example, in this particular case. Or in other words, if it's an upstream system, you want to have more fields that you could build your systems on or insights on. So,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
okay, I don't know which event you saw this, Ibrahim.
The London
Uh,
Summit.
Okay, this is where it all started. So this is from 2024, and this is the first time I mean, not only deployed it, we showcased it. So we had a stall as well when we ran through this demo, showed it people how it works. Then it was in the AWS reInvent Builders Fair as well last year.
Oh,
So I
nice.
had the opportunity to, because it's a builders project at the end of the day. So we deployed it at Builders Fair, and I collected feedback and for the events, for the projects there. And most recently, we deployed at London Summit. So we deployed at GenAI Pavilion. If
Yeah,
you,
that was the
yeah,
one.
okay, so good. And also at the same time, we did it for AWS Village. So yeah, we did a lot of interesting stuff there, with regards to that.
Nice. Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, we have also our viewers. We have that's one of the regular viewer. Hi everyone. Hi Iri. And then data guy as well. Hey, uh, simple but effective. Looking forward to seeing what the services you use in
Okay.
AWS. Yeah, we will see that in more
Yeah.
details. And yeah, before going to these services, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
um, you built that yourself, right?
Yes.
So okay, so it's based on the uh, Raspberry Pi, and then Raspberry Pi will collect the data from the clerks, and then we'll send it for processing, right?
Yep. And we'll
Okay,
talk about it. I'll show you.
exactly,
Yeah. Let's go
exactly.
to the architecture. If you
And
want to
that,
ask anything.
but before that, the behind the behind this was two things, or it serves two purposes. The first one, okay, we had a real use case that we need to collect feedback from our customers, and the second one is to show them how they can implement the same thing, not necessarily in the same way, but the process itself of collecting the feedback, analyzing it automatically, integrating it with the GenAI part that you mentioned, or the machine learning, and then get more insights from the data,
Yeah,
right?
we'll see it in action. Yeah. So as just thanks for summarizing that for me. Yes, yeah, it is. It has got a valid use case, and the whole purpose behind this was to help us, but at the same time, and help customer visualize how they can build on AWS data services and AWS GenAI, so generative AI services, to help them achieve their business outcome. Okay.
So if you think about it, so that the device can be replaced by any IoT, and then it can collect
Yeah,
data,
it could.
and then the processing would be the same.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same. Yeah, it could be
Mm,
IoT, it could be upstream systems,
yeah,
and we're going to talk about it a little bit later as well. Because I mean, I myself work for financial services, right? So I mean, they
yeah,
don't use IoT. It's normally tick data that comes through, or maybe it's a market data coming from, or in a post trade data
exactly.
that's coming through, and they want to build on that, right?
Yeah,
So this is where, and we'll see it shortly. The right hand side remains pretty much the same, whereas the
yeah,
left hand side where the data originates from could vary depending on your industry.
exactly. So you can replace the interface itself, but the processing should be the same or
Yeah,
similar
pretty
at
much
least.
the case. Yeah, or in fact you can scale it because we didn't want to put every services in,
Yeah,
uh,
definitely.
so it could change based on your needs and the scale you are after as well. Okay.
Perfect. I believe we are, yeah, more interested now to know about the services that behind the device. Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna pick up my laser pointer there. Okay, a pen. So this is the device you saw earlier,
Hmm.
and at the start of the event, and I mean, I would like to, I would like you to relate it to the other use cases that you may have. So, for example, in this particular case, we have got a fleet of these devices that we
Hmm.
deploy, right? So at the and every event is different, right? So some are builders fair, some are a block of uh, demos that are happening, and then we want to deploy only one there. So I mean, the situation could differ, right?
Yeah.
So and hence your device configuration going to change as well. So sometimes it's London Summit, sometimes it's reInvent, or it could be other summits as well. So it needs to read the data. So they have got these devices are, and I'll talk about it very briefly, but these are IoT things. So this is an IoT device from IoT AWS IoT core perspective. And what happens in here is when the device boots up, it invokes an API on the API gateway, which in turn calls a backend service running on Lambda, and that in turn talks uh, to the uh, Amazon DynamoDB, right? So, and this is where the configuration information is stored. So, for example, I might say, "Oh yeah, I'm device one. Tell me what am I
Mm.
supposed to do?" So, this is the part where it starts to, engage with the event. Yeah.
Okay, so the device itself, the all the configuration that happens are all being pushed to it. So you don't need to go and
Yep.
configure like 500 devices or something like that. It's one central location. You have all the configuration. Whichever device is connected will get like an ID or something like that. It will be stamped with that ID, and then will
Yep.
start to generate data. But
Yeah.
let
Yeah.
me ask a question here. So how these devices are connected? How secure is the connection?
So these devices, of course, they download their configuration data from
Hmm.
AWS, but they have got their own identity.
Hmm.
And when I say identity, they have got own certificates. So they use mutual MTLS
Hmm.
for authentication. So these have got the private certificates installed on the devices themselves. They've got their own identity, and they use the mutual TLS authentication to authenticate themselves with AWS IoT Core before they can send messages, right? And it happens with every request. So it's a zero trust setup there.
Okay, yeah, because we don't want any attacks, man in the middle, something like that. So any other device that's um, trying to connect using the identity of an authentic one. So
Of course,
that,
yeah.
yeah, okay, and that happens. You mentioned that happens with each and every call. So it's not
Yeah. So
only for the configuration, but for the uploading the data and all that stuff.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. So
Okay,
certificates are installed every time it connects with IoT Core. It has to do that in a handshake.
okay, nice. So now the device booted up or started, it uh,
Okay.
downloaded the configuration, and now it's ready to connect.
Yeah, that's where the real magic happens, right? So that was
Yeah.
the initial setup that happened. So as I was saying earlier, so this is running on Raspberry Pi. So
Hmm.
and depending on the size of the device, we have different flavors of Raspberry Pi. So for example, Raspberry Pi 4B or Pi 02 that's being used. And on the device, we are using AWS IoT SDK for connecting. And as I was saying earlier, let me change to the laser point. Yeah. So we have got the IoT certificate installed, and then it uses AWS IoT SDK. So it's a Python application running, which is interacting with GPIO pin and capturing the data, and then sends it over to AWS cloud.
I know we have
So
another thing called IoT Greengrass, I believe, right?
yes, yeah. So I mean, it's yeah, we could have used that, but we have not
Okay.
used that. So right now it's a Python application because the whole idea behind this demo is to showcase the right
Yeah,
hand side, right? So we wanted to
exactly.
mean, and we wanted to show, and we wanted to cover maximum services as well. So if you see, configuration part is API gateway, right?
Yeah,
Whereas now it's using IoT. Yeah, and then you'll see
exactly.
something else as well. And when we talk about audio feedback as well, so
So depending on the use case itself, you can change all of that.
yes, yeah, channels could change, your interaction mechanisms could change as well. Okay.
I'm sorry, Shaib, we have a question from Data Guy who was asking, what data do you store on top of the top of the response? Do you store things like time and date for trending against the data?
Okay. No, that's the yeah. We do restore that. So let me show you that. I want to show it a little bit later. Yeah. So when you click on it, it then generates something like
Oh,
this. So it's a
okay,
JSON message. Yeah. So, but
okay,
I'll come back to that. But yes,
okay,
yeah, we do store timestamp, time, and the date. So it is. Uh,
perfect.
yeah, that's required in order to relate, and you will see why it's required.
Okay.
Okay. So once, I mean, the button is pressed, like going back to the previous slide. So, oops. Yeah. So yeah, so when you click on that, light comes off. But actually, what happens? It
Hmm.
creates a IoT MQTT message, sorry,
Okay.
JSON message, which is transmitted over MQTT protocol using mutual authentication, uh, and that goes to IoT core, AWS IoT core. Where,
Mhm.
as I was saying earlier, we do have IoT things defined. So in order to interact with IoT core, you have to define IoT things. So each
Mhm.
of these devices, they have got their identity. They're called or appear as IoT thing. They have got their dedicated IoT certificate and associated policies. So by doing that, an device can only connect unpublished messages to the relevant topics that they have been
Mhm.
permitted to, right? So this is the way you control through policies. And as part of the configuration, it also downloads the MQTT topic it needs to send the data to. So
Mhm.
this is all downloaded in the previous step, and then the message is sent out using to a topic, and there you have got the IoT rule defined, which routes all the incoming messages on that particular queue or to a particular S3 bucket. Yep.
Mhm.
So this is where Amazon S3 data lake comes into play. And then we make use of S3 event notification, which invokes a Lambda function because you want to do a further enrichment of the message. So just to give an example, going back to this particular message, this is all dummy I had to create it before the show. Uh, so as you can see in this particular case, session title is not there, right? So
Mhm.
that's done as part of the enrichment process. So it says, okay, device 22 actually is representing event demo 3. So this is what happens here. But at the
Okay.
same time, R was a simple
Add
use
more
case.
details to the message itself.
Yes, message
Okay.
enrichment. Yep.
Okay.
And our use case was simple, so we got away with Lambda functions, right? But in your
Yeah.
case, it could be a bigger ETL that you want to carry out. Yeah. So in that particular case, you can use glue ETL, or you could use
Mhm.
step functions, or maybe MWA as well as an orchestration layer.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Okay. So, yep.
So yeah, try. Just a question.
Mhm.
Um, that's we are assuming that there is a connectivity between the device itself and the backend.
Mhm.
But it happens sometimes that we don't have such connectivity for whatever reason.
You got me
You
there.
have been, yeah, you have been, you have been to the summits before, and I believe you have faced something like that.
Yes, now we have phased that. So initially it was just a click and it will go because it
Hmm.
normally a second, yeah, before it reaches or gets processed. So it's essentially click on it, it's there. But when you don't have a very reliable Wi-Fi, we've been building features so it works in the local mode as well. So
Oh,
wherein what it
okay.
does, it just stores it locally, and when there's a Wi-Fi available, I mean, there's another daemon process which keeps on running, and I mean, as soon as it finds the Wi-Fi, it syncs it. So that's also a possibility. Yeah, we had it the learned it the hard way, but yes, spot on
Okay,
with that question.
so it has this capability. It will store the data locally, and once it's connected again, then it will start to upload
Yeah.
data. Okay, that's perfect. So by doing that, we are not losing any data. Data is
Yes.
being correct. Okay, that's
Yeah.
perfect.
And it's good for the user experience as well because it's not
Yeah.
waiting for it to go. And I mean, although it's very quick, but if the Wi-Fi is a little bit unreliable, then it takes a while, and it's not a very good
Mm,
customer experience. That's why
yeah.
we're using the local mode as well. Okay. So, sorry.
And all of that is sorry, yeah, all of that is like an online processing. It's not a batch mode. It's an online processing.
Yeah, I mean, it's the part where, because at the end of the day, it's a demo, right? So what
Yeah.
it does is it when it syncs, it opens a batch or use the same connection. Let me not say batch. It
Okay.
uses the same connection to send multiple messages. So all the messages are on the card. Yeah, on the SD card,
Yeah.
it reads through it and sends it one by one over the same connection. So they get
Okay.
processed in the same manner. They retain the same timestamp because they're
Perfect.
stored locally, and that's
Yeah.
the way it works out. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, so next step, so one that it has been enriched. Uh, we also do is the aggregation part, right? We want to make it because right now these are individual events. We want to
Yeah.
consolidate that, right? So this is where we have created event bridge scheduler, which runs another Lambda function every half an hour, which goes to the particular, particular bucket, uses all the data or combines the data into a single CSV file that's put into the aggregated bucket because that's what we want to use.
Hmm.
Okay, and that's for performance reasons as well. So rather querying thousands of events, you want to have it in a single CSV file or in a Parquet file as well. We use CSV, but Parquet is even better.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Perfect.
once it's there, it's in there. So we do have AWS Glue job as well. That's basically a notebook job. What it does is it takes reads that CSV file, and then it tries to come up with a sort of data or analyze the data. And in
Hmm.
order to do that, it uses a combination of Athena queries, or sorry, Pandas data frames, and using AWS Wrangler or AWS SDK for Panda. And then it uses Amazon Bedrock as well to generate the insights. So uses that frame data, passes on to Bedrock, asks a number of questions in order to generate the relevant insights. And for this, we are using Anthropic Claude. I mean, right now 3.7, but it's processed the same regardless of which version of Claude. But we are using Anthropic Claude for this.
So for the Glow job itself, it can integrate with all these services and
Yes.
run all of that. Okay. I
Yeah.
didn't know that the Glue job can
So
integrate
I
with
mean,
any
you
other
can
job.
write Boto 3, right? So you can Boto 3.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
So
Exactly.
it's a
Yeah.
Spark script with
Yeah.
other bits as well in that.
Then
So
it yeah
that's the way it works with
it
that.
can easily integrate with the other services. You're right.
Yep. Okay. So once the data is generated or insights have been generated, they get put into GenAI insights bucket or generative AI insights bucket, which means you have got the enriched data, which can drive your analytics dashboard. And on the side, you have got the generative AI based insights as well. Okay, and this is where the Glue catalog, data catalog comes in. It's a centralized metadata repository for all the data assets that are stored within different AWS sources. And this is where the AWS Glue crawler comes into play as well. It goes through the sources and creates that metadata catalog using the data yeah, in the AWS Glue data catalog. And then you have got the Thina query that we use to query the data just to make sure it has arrived in the right manner. And then we are using Amazon QuickSight Queue, as QuickSight, sorry, for showing the dashboard. And this is where data, the typical or the routine analytics data from the enrich bucket, as well as the generative AI insights that have been created before, are displayed. And that's where other features of Amazon Q for Quick Signer comes into play as well, wherein users can develop their own dashboards, and also at the same time you can create executive summary, etc. Although we create it as part of the dashboard, but that can be done out of the box as well using the data that's available.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. So in this case, as a customer, of course, depending on the use case itself and the
Mhm.
complexity of the data that you are collecting and all of that stuff, you can choose whether you act directly on the enriched data and without going through that the generative AI domain part of it. And then you use the quick site to visualize the data, and also, as you mentioned, Amazon Q that can give even more capabilities than that.
Yes.
Can I believe it can show you the trends and stuff like that, and so you can use it in a way. I'm not going to say the same way that the
Hmm.
generative AI domain would get you the insights, but for some use cases, it might be the quick site is just enough to do this part, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, because we did this because we wanted to do it. We wanted to have a specific insights and wanted to display it out of the sorry in a very straightforward manner. But
Yeah,
yes, you're right. Actually, a QuickSight queue for Amazon Queue for QuickSight provides a much richer feature set, right? Wherein you could go and do even more complex queries in a natural language processing style as well. So this is very good. Yeah, good point, Ibrahim.
perfect. Thanks a lot, Tribe. So the dashboard is based on QuickSight. QuickSight will use the data sets that and using the queries that you have from Athena as well in order to create the dashboard, right?
Yeah, so we use
And
Athena
I
queries
believe
as well.
it's highly customizable, same as any Amazon QuickSight. You can customize it based on the use case, get the insights that you want to, and then you can publish it as well, right? You can
Yeah,
for
we'll see
further.
some of it in action. I mean,
Okay,
although we're
that's
not
great.
going to spend too much time because of the time constraints in here, but yeah, there's a possibility, right? So yeah, okay. So this is what it looks like in terms of overall architecture. And just to repeat myself very quickly before we go to the demo. So you have
Yeah,
a device. When you click on the device, it sends in a JSON message or MQTT protocol to AWS IoT core, which allows it or invokes the right topic, which is underlined by another IoT rule, which routes the message to the raw bucket or raw part of the data lake. All of these devices have been created as an IoT thing. They have their own identity, own certificates, and with well-defined policies. So that's where it gets to the raw part. Yeah. And once it reaches the raw bucket, we have got this S3 event notification, which invokes a Lambda function where it gets enriched. So there's another, it also acts as a exclusion filter as well. So for
mm,
example, I'm going to, and we really experienced it as well. So if you go to London Summit, when we were configuring things, right, we don't want that to be counted. So this is where it filters the data as well. So if I've clicked on the button before 8 a.m. when the event
okay,
starts, it's just going to ignore it. It's going to drop it. So that's
Okay.
another layer of protection, and just to maintain the integrity
Or maybe
of the
like
feedback.
the the repeated pushing of the buttons within
Yes,
like
I'm not going to share the secret with you, but we pick up on fixing as well.
oh man, you should have told me before.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I'm not going to share that.
I kept pushing the button.
Yeah, then we can catch you gaming. Yeah. Okay,
Okay, that's
so yeah,
great.
so once it's there, the whole data set, then you have got the event bridge scheduler, which invokes lambda function at regular interval, where the entire data set gets consolidated or aggregated into a single CSV file, from where it gets picked up by AWS Glue job, which is also running, which is triggered every half an hour as well, and then it creates a generative AI based insights using the data that has been collected. And then it goes to the generative AI insights bucket. And with the AWS Glue crawler, we have already crawled these buckets so that we know what the structure of the tables are going to look like. Of course, you can add more data fields to it as well, because it's a schema on read approach,
Mhm.
unlike a more traditional relational databases.
Yeah,
Then from there, you have QuickSight and Athena and QuickSight, where we display the data in a more uh, business intelligence way. Okay,
perfect.
and
Yeah,
so
I
that
think that
brings me.
summarizes. Yeah, very well. Yeah, and then we are really excited for the demo.
Okay, live demo on a live stream.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so let's see it in action. So this is the some this is the bucket. So that I'm using. I've just because this is just a demo, I've just used some of the previous ones. I created this demo
Yeah.
in advance, and as you can see, the device I showed earlier has got an identity of Kscope 22. So I'm just going to refresh it, and this is the raw bucket here before where the data
Hmm.
arrives, and then you have got this enhanced bucket where it gets enriched and processed. So as you can see, so the analytics dashboard is driven from this. Yeah, so if you have the data in raw, like for example, I clicked at half seven just to make sure it's working, it may not get reflected here because this is not fitting within the schedule.
Mm.
Okay, so let me go back to raw, and I'm just going to pick up the device, and I'm going to click on the green. Yeah, so because this is, I don't want to press red.
Okay.
Yeah, as you can see, this has gone off. I'm just going to refresh it, and it should go to 221. So can you see that? It has gone to 221.
Hmm.
Okay, so I don't mind pressing again.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, so just for repeatability. Okay, so that's gone, and I'm just going to refresh it. As you can see, this should, oops, the joy of live demo.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay, let me press it again. Yeah, as you can see, it says gone to 22. Maybe I didn't press it properly.
Yeah.
Okay, so this where I've just clicked on that. Okay, and now I'm going to go to the enhanced bucket. So that's where it has become 22 as well. So this is a process, right?
Mm.
So now let's go to the dashboard that I have created, and this is where the BI capability of QuickSight plays an important role as well. So what I've done is for this demo purposes, I have set up 5 devices. So
Mm.
right now this event has got 5 devices in it, or
Mm.
5 demos. So they are called as event demo 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yep. So, and then it shows you what the most popular venue had been based on number of feedback that has been received. Uh, then it tells you the feedback distribution as well, isn't it? And that's where
Mhm.
I think data guy asked this question about do you store the timestamp? Yeah.
Yeah.
This is where it gets used. As you can see the distribution of the feedback, and that tells you. I mean, and we'll look at it as well. It gives a good insight with regards to which all time slots have been active so that you can plan certain events there, or maybe
Mhm.
work around maybe lunchtime it drops, those kind of insights can be quite useful as well.
Yeah.
Then this is typical analytics dashboard, yeah, in this particular case. And then you can have the internal one with red, green, blue, etc. This is all dummy data, by the way. Yeah. So
Okay.
this is how I was pressing there. So let me just press it again and see which one is that. So I'm just going to press. Yeah. Okay. Let's see which one gets updated. Yeah, so that was this one, 2 2 to 3. So it has gone in. And as you can see, this is all, I mean, dummy data, and it's been done intentionally this way as well. Okay.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
the way that how quick is the processing of the whole thing. So from the moment that you are pressing the button, then it takes like a fraction of a second or something like that to be reflected back.
exactly. Exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
we would like to call it real time, but we don't say real time. We say near real time, right? So
But still, yeah, it's very impressive going through all the steps of processing, and we
good
have
sign.
to add the connectivity as well, the network latency and all of that. But still, within a second, you got the response. So that's amazing. So you can, as you mentioned, it's in near real
Near
time.
real time. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you can on the spot you can find out whether you have a problem with, I know, whatever the you are monitoring, and then you can take actions based on that.
Yeah, exactly. So as you can see, this is the one I've just done, right? So around 4 p.m. time. It's in hourly, so that's fine. So that's what we have done. So you can have an external one. This is what we typically display at the events, right? So the London Summit and the Paris Summit, we had these being shown to the audience, right? Because it tells you
Hmm.
and how the events are
Oh
performing and
yeah.
which were the popular ones. So this is a good insight. Then you can have project in CSATs as well, right? So this is the way we do calculate it. Be careful next time, Ibrahim.
Okay.
So here I can select the event and say, look, okay, this is the event I want to evaluate. Tell me how it performed. Yeah.
Mm,
So this is a good indication for the team as well to see, what has been the pattern, how people liked it, and that's the case even with our customers as well, isn't it? They
yeah.
want to measure their own performance, right? And that's where these kind of insights could be quite helpful. So I'm just going to put the third one, and okay, so this is the one we did, and it tells you uh, and how many feedback we received for each categories.
Oh,
So
nice.
now the interesting part, the Gen AI part, right? This is what
Yeah.
we talked about. So I generated this before the event. That's why it's showing 1011 as opposed to 1014. Yeah. But if you look,
Mhm.
this Gen AI based insight has been generated using Bedrock and the ETL job I described earlier. So this is a good summary with regards to, I mean, for this particular one, I've used the scoring mechanism. So, for example, in this particular case, it's like, okay, if the session is good, if it's all green, give them a 5 points, then 4 points, something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and it based on that, it calculates and tells me what went well. So, for example, in this event, and if I'm running regularly, I'm getting a feedback so that I can choreograph the event as it's happening or unfolding. And that's the case with our customers as well, right? They want to know
Mhm.
what's happening in the market, and they want to react or respond to those particular events in almost near real time, or they can make the maximum impact. So particular if you look at this particular uh, demo, sorry, I just want to show you the internal one. You can see
Yeah.
this one has got the maximum green. It didn't have any reds, whereas
Yeah.
even demo one had a relatively high number of reds and ambers, right? So if I go back to the Gen AI summary, yeah, it tells me even to achieve perfect CSAT. Yeah, it
Mm.
tells me what event duration, what time of the day was most positive, right? It also tells me which were the most viewed demos in here as well. And similarly, as we saw, even demo one wasn't doing great, right? I mean, it was still 75%, but in comparison to others. It also talks about the time slot, and then it talks about the future strategy, because that's what you want to work on. And this is what, if let's say, for example, if I'm happens to be an AWS marketing guy, then I want to use this data, right?
Yeah.
So this is all GenAI. So this you're limited by your own queries. This is what we thought are relevant, but you can devise your own queries accordingly, right?
Yeah, but we have just before going on, we have a question. I told you our viewers will be asking that question. Uh, do you have a link with all this project information? Because it really looks really interesting, and I'm sure that there are so many use cases that can make use of this and can benefit from that one.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're working on making it or release it under AWS samples. Unfortunately, it's not the case as we speak, but that's something we are actively working on. We want to
Perfect.
make it open source. People can use it, deploy it, play around with AWS services, and uh, make the best out of it. So that's what it is. But
Yeah,
uh,
and also we have a question from here that does the light turn off when it has reset and it's ready for the next input?
Exactly. So the way it
Oh
works
wow.
out, yeah. So it works out that way, right? So if it is, it's a live right now. I put in the live mode. When I click on it, light switches on, and more invokes the IoT button. Sorry, IoT SDK sends a message out
Hmm.
and switches it off. Yeah, giving. I
Perfect.
mean, it is so quick, Ibrahim. I have to confess, it's
Yeah,
just
of
so
course.
quick that I had to introduce a sleep just to make sure the light lit for a little bit longer so that we can notice it. Because if it's a Wi-Fi is good, it just goes like that, and you can't even. I mean, just you just see it as a blink.
Exactly.
So I have put in a time in a sleep of 500 millisecond there, so that we can see the lights. Yeah,
Okay. I say,
and
oh, okay. Okay, so
uh,
now it's in the slow motion actually. Okay.
yeah, and if it's a
Yeah,
local mode, then in that case, it just writes it to the SD card, and that's it. And when
yeah,
the other daemon process picks it up, it does it behind the scene. So it's just about
exactly.
user experience. Yeah,
Yeah, Mr. Hepsey, also, yeah, I agreed with that. It's super fast. Yeah, I
yeah.
agree. Schizophrenic web developer. Yeah, maybe if the response is okay, then they're like, yes, exactly. This is what
Yes.
happens.
Yeah.
Perfect. Because it had a, yeah, same, concern that we talked about if someone would just spam pressing someone
Yeah.
like
So that's
me.
so yeah. So we use a combination of techniques which I can't discuss with you right now. Is on the
Okay,
lines of we look after the gaming as well, right? Because it's very. I
perfect.
mean, it doesn't have to be there because sometimes I mean people press it. Not sure whether it has gone through or not. So they also, I mean, we don't. I mean, uh,
And it's so tempting, to be honest. You see a button there, you'd like to press it. It's, I think it's human nature.
yeah, I mean, yeah, so yeah, so I mean, it's you have to fine tune buttons as well. So there's a lot of interesting stuff. Maybe a conversation for some other day on how it
Yeah,
all works.
perfect.
But yeah, yes, I mean, yeah, we do look after that and then on timestamps and stuff like that. Yeah, I've just
Yeah,
given you some
even,
hint.
yeah, see, yeah, that's agreed with me. Buttons are fun.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole idea, right? Because all if you look at the demos, people come in, you say with the UI, so, but this is something that something tangible. Right? They can click on it and
Yes,
they can see it as
exactly.
well.
Yeah.
Okay. So other thing, I don't know whether Ibrahim, but I did mention earlier that
Hmm.
this is a click data. Right? You have only one field that's coming through,
Exactly.
but you want to do more about it. Yeah, this is
Hmm.
where I mean you want to capture more fields, and I'll show you something more interesting than what we are seeing in here.
Okay.
Okay, so let me switch the camera. Mm, Okay, so can you, yeah, so can you see that? There's a touch
Yeah.
version of it. So this is what we had, what we saw this time was simple clicks, right? One click, one feedback, and some insights. Whereas if you look at this one, uh, you can have more data that could be collected, right? So this is awesome event. So I'm gonna click on all greens. Yes, I'm gonna join the future events, and yes, it will increase my usage.
Okay.
So it works in a
Something
similar
like a
manner.
short survey. Yeah,
Yeah, short survey. You want to keep it short.
definitely.
Yeah. but it boils down to use case. So don't think in terms of Kaleidoscope as a way. Your use case would require. Your use case may have additional fields that coming that make. I mean, you may have, rather than having 10 questions, which could be quite boring, you may have 10 fields coming through, giving you different. Aspects of insight as we speak. So let me switch to the other camera. Okay, so let's have a look at how the other one works. So if you look at this, I didn't refresh it. So it was 1462. So I've just done a click
Hmm.
and yeah, so it has gone to 1463. Okay, so let me
Okay.
do it again just to for the people who missed it. One, two, three. So I've just done another submission there and I'm just going to refresh it. It has gone to 1464. As you can see, it has got more data items to it, and still
Yeah.
it has done like by the time
Quickly.
I refresh, it was all processed. So
Yeah.
it's a very similar function, but here you can do more, right? So if you look at the questions, one question was about how did you like the event, but for me, it's crucial to understand whether this will result in future service usage or
Hmm.
will they be attending. I mean, is it the relevant audience? So in this particular case, but in the customers our AWS customers point of view, are they targeting the right audience? They want to sell more services as well. So I mean, it could become quite crucial. And if you look at this, I'm going to ignore the first part because that's pretty similar. I ran it before the event, and hence it's still 1462. But this is all generated using GenAI, and this is quite a useful insight for me. It says
Okay.
event appears likely to increase AWS service usage. Yeah, and also future attendance is looking quite strong. So this is quite a useful insight for me.
And
As I
it's
say,
pretty. I'm pretty interested in that low part. It
yes,
gives you recommendations as well.
yeah, it gives you recommendations as well. So okay, timing is important. If you have crucial sessions happening, let's say during the lunchtime, you may not have that much of an audience, and we see that
Yeah,
as well, right?
of course.
So, so that's what it talks about, saying, okay, schedule the most important content during high engagement time slots. That's between 8 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. and 3 p.m. So yeah, post lunch as well.
Mm.
So these insights are quite crucial, and that's exactly we were building this a demo for our customers. Okay.
Yeah. And I believe that's based on the data that you are sending as well. Then you can get more insights and more customized responses or more customized recommendations based on the data.
Yeah, yeah, you're limited by your imagination in this particular case. You
Yeah,
can play around, you can do more insights. And that's why data is. I mean, you need a solid data foundation for you to be successful in your Gen AI or AI innovations, right? So this is where
exactly.
this demo hangs the two together and help you visualize how the story could play out as part of the use case. Of course, and it needs to be more enterprise. You can use other richer services as well. I'm going to give you another interesting demo as well, Ibrahim, as a bonus material as part of
Cool.
this. Yeah. Why stop there?
Yeah,
Yeah. In the particular case, let's say you have got a contact center running on AWS Connect, right?
yeah.
Amazon Connect, and you want to build on that data. That's all voice data that's coming through, right?
Mm.
So there's a speech data. So I'm going to give you another demo, and I'm going to move to other camera. Just bear with me.
Okay,
Yeah, and you're going to love it,
I'm sure I
hopefully.
will. No.
So I'm just going to move it to this one. So I've got another one, yeah,
Oh,
which
okay,
another Kaleidoscope, but I've enabled voice on it. Okay,
okay,
so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the button. I'm going to leave a voice feedback or audio feedback,
okay,
and we'll see what happens. Okay, so in a similar manner, I've just lifted the mic, and I'm going to press the button. Hi, Ibrahim. Let's talk about data is awesome. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, because it takes this 10-second audio. So let's go back to the previous one, the previous um, dashboard,
Okay.
and let's see what's happening. Okay, it's still being processed. So audio feedback, joy
Uh,
of live demo.
and audio, of course, it will take more time to be processed as well.
Yes, you can see that it wasn't bad, right? Within 5 seconds or 10 seconds, you had
Oh,
this. And this is what I said. I said, "Hi, Ibrahim. Let's talk about data. Is awesome." So it filtered out the PI data.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I'm going to give another message as well, just to say that. Hey, Ibrahim. This is John here, joining from London, and I work for AWS. So this has gone through now. It's being processed. Let's see what happens.
Oh,
Uh,
lovely.
okay, so that's why I said, "Hey, Ibrahim. This
All
is
the
John
PI
here."
data being redacted. That's
Yes,
amazing.
and I said I am joining from London, so it removed
Yeah.
London as well. Yeah, although it left AWS because that's intention. It doesn't take, so that's not part of the filtering. But as you can
Yeah.
see, the PI data has been removed. So
Yeah.
let's see how it really works in this particular case here. So we've gone the demo. This is the way it works, right? So there's an element of joining as well. So the data goes via MQTT protocol, but the
Hmm.
voice goes via the HTTP. This is another feature, right?
Okay.
But we are using the same mutual TLS to get the
Okay.
right credentials for, I mean, with the roles defined to be able to upload the file to the S3. So we use a similar formula in this. We had the file that was uploaded in parallel to the data was being sent in the usual MQTT protocol. It went to the raw bucket, but the audio went through this particular S3 bucket, wherein it invoked Lambda using the SC event notification, and it was transcribed so that
Mm.
it became speech to text. And from once it was converted, then we ran it through Amazon Comprehend, where the PII data could be removed. But in other cases, it could be customer sentiment as well, right? So
Yeah, of
we
course.
can do more with that. But this is a relatively easy use case to make people understand. We don't want to make it too complex for.
And I believe that once you have the data there, this is the most critical part. This is the most difficult part. The extracting the insights using the different services that we have. I think that makes things a bit easier,
Yeah.
but I think that, as you mentioned, you have the data foundation.
Yes, yeah, you need a solid data foundation for you to be successful
Mhm.
in your business transformation journey, including AI, right?
Exactly.
So this is where it comes in, and the beauty about the whole process is once you get the data in, you have got the whole raft of AWS services to work on the data and make it
Yeah,
more useful for you. Okay,
exactly. But yeah,
now
that's very impressive.
okay,
You see, yeah, even James Jamin saying, "Wow, data guy," saying really like that, very quick as well. So yeah,
okay,
it's impressive.
okay. Let's touch the thread further. Yeah. So in this
Okay.
particular case, right? So in the beginning, we talked about this IoT and stuff. Like I myself work for FSI, yeah. So we don't
Yeah.
use IoT if it's in manufacturing or aspects of retail as well. They may be using IoT. In my industry, we don't, right? So this is where your upstream systems could be different. But if you look at the right hand side, it's pretty much the same, right? So you could be
Yes.
getting data from external sources. So for example, it could be coming through transfer, from SFTP through AWS Transfer Family, or it could be a data Exchange, or you could be pulling it from other SaaS platform using Amazon Airflow, or it could be your more structured data stores in the form of RDS or in Red data warehouse in the form of Amazon Redshift, or it could be a streaming system as well. But as long as you bring it to the data lake style storage provided by S3, then on your right hand side, it's pretty much the same. So,
That's really impressive. Yeah, this is how you can implement the same concept as you mentioned.
mm,
No matter what's the data source, but you still can implement the right side processing of the data and getting the more insights from it.
yep.
It's
So
quite
this,
impressive.
yeah, no, thanks for that. But these are all purposeful demos, and I hope, the people find it, or the people who are watching it, or people who watch it later on as well, find it useful. And with this, it brings me to the end of this presentation. Any questions you want to take, or any interesting fact people may like to share as well?
Just checking. Okay. Do we have a question from schizophrenic web developer? Do you use a single board computer like Raspberry Pi in that box or some microcontroller?
Yeah, it's a Raspberry Pi Zero 2, as I was saying earlier.
A
So
zero
if
two. Okay.
yeah, it's a Raspberry Pi Zero 2. For the touchscreen one, I've used a Raspberry Pi 4B.
Okay.
So yeah, so depending on the computing powers of single clicks, Raspberry Pi is great.
Okay. Perfect. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe I want to show you a quick, give you a quick glimpse of what's inside.
Yeah.
I mean,
That would be
I made
great.
it battery pack actually for this demo. We
Oh,
normally run it
lovely.
on the mains power. So as you can see, I'm just running it over the battery. But at the same time, yeah, this is what it looks like from inside, just in case.
Oh, that's
So
amazing.
this, so yeah, this is where the Raspberry Pi Zero 2 is. I don't think you can see it properly. But you can see the green
Yeah.
light. That's a Raspberry Pi Zero 2. And then with
Okay.
all, okay,
Oh, that's amazing. Tribe, yeah, that's really amazing. I'm, I've been quite enjoyable, very interesting project. Yes, curious one to saying, yeah, I find it very interesting, and not only the project itself, but the implementations as well, and how you can implement that in
hmm,
in different ways, and different industries can benefit from the same concept as well, the data processing, collecting the data, and the data processing that we have seen today.
yeah,
I'd like to really thank you so much, Raip, for
all
your
right.
time. Thank you so much for the demos that we had today, and for all our viewers. Uh, we really enjoyed you being with us today. And same as every time, next week we'll be waiting you to join us again. We will be having another interesting topic about Aurora Distributed SQL, this new service that we have announced around reInvent, and now it's GA. So we have Tony. He will be your host for that session, and we'll be talking more details about the Aurora Distributed SQL. So next week, 5 p.m. CET, 8 a.m. PT, 11 a.m. ET, and we'll be waiting for you to join us as well. Tribe, thank you so much
Thank you
for
very
your
much.
time
Thanks,
today. Thanks a
thanks,
lot.
thanks, Ibrahim, and thanks everyone for joining in.
Pleasure. Thank you. See you next
Bye.
week. Bye bye.